My friends, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you like what you see, please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell. And if you think you're already subscribed, please check to make sure YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you without your permission. It happens every day. And if you really like what you see, please consider becoming a channel member or even leaving a super thanks donation to help keep us going. I promise to answer each and every one I receive. Thank you for watching, my friends, and now, on to the video. I have seen the final episode of The Acolyte, and it's terrible. I'm struggling to figure out all the many reasons why I hate this show so unspeakably. Obviously, I hate it because it's not Star Wars in any sense of the word. It's a woke feminist rant disguised as a TV show. I hate it because of the astonishing lack of talent involved, and I think of all the genuinely talented people in the world who could make incredible things on a fraction of the grotesquely inflated budget of this colossal waste of time and money and inspiration and life itself. And when I think of that, it makes me want to vomit. I despise these creepy, empty little pod people that make shit like this and lack the intellect, taste, or just plain humanity to know just how vacant and soulless the Acolyte is, or Ahsoka, or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Leslie Headland has no business being in show business. Her business should be scooping up dog business at a holistic kennel with a crystal pooper scooper that, like Edward the Sensitive Vampire, sparkles like diamonds in the sun. Or perhaps she should be teaching courses like Finding the Hidden Feminism in the Vagina Monologues at Berkeley, wearing nothing but blue war paint and a pair of Cleveland cat potholders. Or maybe selling fair trade coffee to lesbian poets while bitching about the patriarchy in haiku. Shit like that. But what she shouldn't be doing is telling stories, because she sucks at it. Kennedy, Headland, Iger, all of these people pretend to give a shit about supporting disadvantaged women and minorities, but they sure do soak up all the gravy for their white little selves, don't they? And toss the crumbs to people of color and make them say shit like, the Jedi are good and the Jedi are bad, wearing rainbow flags all the way to the bank to cover their hypocrisy. Some of these reasons explain the disgust I felt watching this, like it all came home to me, all at once, watching this last episode of just how barren and joyless and devoid of anything resembling inspiration this whole sorry-ass piece of shit has been.
Son of a bitch, he's pissed, folks. I think he's been drinking.
I'm just all out of patience and tolerance and jokes and goodwill. I hate the injustice of a world that lets talentless, pathetic hacks like the people making Disney Star Wars these days skate blithely from failure to failure, skating fast enough not to hear the cries of "holy shit, this garbage stinks" from dismayed viewers, dying on the breeze behind them in their wake as they glide past. The Acolyte is worse than mediocrity. This is absolute incompetence masquerading as virtue, with those responsible for it hiding behind their diversity and their mother-sucking rainbow flags and their cocktail parties where they toast how much they, as white people, are all for the suppression of white people, even as they revel in their own white privilege while decrying it with oh-so-pale crocodile tears. They hide behind all of these things and pretend to be so noble when really, if it weren't for ESG and DEI and rainbow flags, they'd be unemployed because without the cause, they're worthless. Worthless as writers, worthless as directors, worthless as creatives, worthless as tellers of tales and dreamers of dreams. They're space holders for talent that will never come again. Because when you live a sheltered life tweeting in your safe space in your foot jammies with a wall full of participation trophies at home, you never grow up to be anything but a pampered dilettante, a highly paid for nothing, cheered only by your fellow nothings at the same parties, the same yachts, the same hidey-hole bubbles of privilege where they don't have to hear the rest of the world hating their work and denouncing it for what it is, self-indulgent, empty, soulless shit.
Damn, that's grizzled. I think perhaps this finally broke him. Doomcock, can you at least tell us a bit of detail about the episode itself?
What do you think I'm doing? I think this is one of the best reviews I've ever done because it transcends the details. The plot, such as it is, and attempts to reach down into the pit of my stomach and pull out the sheer disgust and hatred I feel, not merely for the Acolyte, but all these sad, twisted, empty exercises and vanity and waste we call Disney Star Wars. I'm saying the Acolyte, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Kenobi, they're all dead inside. Dead and shriveled and joyless, and the only sparkle fans see in them anymore is reflected from the light shimmering through the disappointed tears. Star Wars fans don't even realize they're crying anymore. Hedlund and Kennedy, and all their little propagandists playing at being She Guevara, have succeeded in putting a dead spot in the hearts of Star Wars fans that mirrors the dead void that is Disney itself. But hey, you want details of how bad the Acolyte was in terms of specifics? As if what I've said isn't bad enough? Very well, let's look at a few lowlights and wrap up the shittiest of the shitty, the deadest of the dead, this final corpse laid atop the flaming charnel pit that is Disney Star Wars. Episode 8 of The Acolyte starts out with the lamest escape I've ever seen in Star Wars. May makes Master Saul look like a total idiot asshole by using her little fish and magician pocket pal to pick the lock holding her down on the table. That was brilliant letting her have that, Saul. And then she stabs Saul with the pointy end of the droid and runs away. Saul chases her. It's not like he's knocked out, but poor old Saul forgets all about the Force, doesn't grab her with the Force, doesn't sense she's about to try to escape with the Force, doesn't use the Force to stop the pod bay door from closing, letting her steal the shuttle and fly away. This is a good thing because it gives Saul a chance to embrace feeling like an asshole. He needs to get used to it because he's going to forget how to use the Force over and over and over again through the course of this episode. In space, chasing her, Saul can't overtake her shuttle on his ship because the Bukkake rat sabotages the engines for some reason. So Saul follows her to Brendok, where he proceeds to look for May by yelling, "May!" instead of using the Force. He can't sense her, even when she's in the same room or the next room. He doesn't even appear to try. He's completely forgotten how to use the Force. He just yells, "May!" Jesus. Similarly, Smilo Ren is made into a cuck by Osha, who acts like some kind of Queen Cleopatra and leads him around like a puppy, all imperious and shit. Alas, poor Smilo. He's got a shitty helmet, and she's got his nuts in her purse, and the big bad Sith is just pretty much along for the ride. Another thing that's really annoying about this episode is Amanda Stenberg. She abandons all pretense of playing two characters in this episode. Nah, Osha and May, they're completely identical now. Yes, Master Saul is making it clear they're virgins in the Force and are they both the same person, but even so, they're not merged together yet. So maybe Amandla shouldn't just phone it in, You think? Or maybe she should, I don't know. I guess it's a shitty show and she gets paid anyway, and maybe by this time, with all the endless reshoots, it's left her all out of schmucks to give. Who knows and who cares? Basically, I can't stand looking at her sullen little face anymore. Meanwhile, a male senator of color hassles green bald boss lady about covering up a multiple murder investigation and not letting the Senate know, and she's in trouble. Saul turns his transponder on, so green-eyed baldy Jedi lady says, "Get me my ship," and a bunch of Jedi. We're going to Brendok to get closure with this whole lesbian space witch business. So both May and Osha are back on Brendok, having a nostalgia tour of the burnt ruins as sad music plays, never wondering how exactly stone burns.
You forgot to say how Saul accused May of burning down the stone fortress, and May said, "Hey, you invaded our home." Shit. May should never work for Orkin. She'll burn your house down to get rid of the termites. It works, but, yeah. Perfect metaphor for Disney Star Wars when you think about it.
Thanks for the reminder, Harvey. I'm too angry to be very methodical about all this. This was supposed to be KK's crowning achievement, wasn't it? Mission accomplished if her aim was to burn all this silliness to the ground. Hey, Disney investors, fun fact, Bob Iger let her do it. Bob Iger let KK burn this $4 billion investment to the ground. Maybe think about sending him a thank you card and a bill for the wasted billions of your dollars. Ha! But I digress. So while May and Osha are doing their nostalgia tour and looking for each other, Smilo Ren and Master Saul encounter each other and fight. Only no one gives a shit now, because both of these dudes have been proven to be cucks, outplayed and outclassed by May and Osha. So who gives a shit who mops up the spilled man seed after this orgy? All of the mystery around Smilo Ren is completely dissolved by seeing him naked and flirting with Osha, being led around by Osha, being rejected by Osha. And Saul, as I said, is just a clown at this point, so any interest in their lightsaber duel is moot and academic. It's kind of like watching soccer that way. You don't really know the teams, don't care what's going on, but the remote is on the other side of the room and you're too bored and tired to get up to change the channel, so you watch it till someone yells goal, and only then do you realize you're wasting your life. But I digress. So yeah, Saul and Smilo Ren fight. Saul says, I will destroy you if I must. And Smilo the cock says, not if she gets you first. What the hell? Yeah, I'm not kidding. Cuckboy says that. Not if she gets you first. See, here Smilo Ren is acknowledging that he rides bitch behind Osha on the speeder bike. He doesn't say, I'll break you. He says, Osha will make you pay, Master Saul. Man, what a cuck this loser is. Again, if we had seen Darth Vader in episode 4 as a skinny lovesick teenager, we'd have lost all interest in him. Here old Smilo Ren basically has the build of Carrie Fisher. Look at those scrawny arms, folks. This lightsaber fight is a total waste of time. No one is left here who cares. So anyway, after Smilo says, yeah, my girlfriend's back and you're gonna be in trouble, he rips off Darth Maul, turns his lightsaber into twin blades, breaks it in two, and we have round 2.
So, all this time he's fighting Saul, Smilo Ren conveniently forgets that he can flick people aside with a tiny gesture or blow a whole shitload of Jedi off their feet with his power blast. We see none of that in this fight. They just bang their laser swords together. What a joke. That's the problem with making characters too powerful, Leslie. Then when it's inconvenient for them to be that powerful, you have to kind of forget they can do the fight-ending shit they can do because you want a long fight to fill up time and fool people into thinking stuff is actually going on.
Excellent point, Harvey Cthulhu. So because Smilo Ren forgets how powerful he is, Saul knocks one of his lightsabers to the ground. Smilo tries to grab it, but guess he's not so almighty now. So now he has to fight with just one again. Poor little cuck boy. So get this is pretty hilarious. Smilo manages to grab his other lightsaber after cleverly letting himself get kicked in the chest. Then he throws the 2 lightsabers at Saul. Saul bats them away, they boomerang towards Saul, coming at him from 2 sides, and then on top of that, stupidly, Smilo Ren jumps up in the air and aims a Superman punch at Saul. Oh, you've got a lightsaber crossfire coming and you jump into it to punch Saul. That's like 2 machine guns firing on a position and you jump into that position in order to slap the target in the face. Oh, it's just so brilliant. Leslie, you're firing on all thrusters. Saul deflects the blades, knocks Smilo back, lights his lightsaber, and kills Smilo Ren at last. Nah, I'm just kidding. I laughed out loud when Smilo just grabbed his lightsaber pieces, put them back together, and all of that shit was for nothing. The fight goes on. No stakes, no suspense, no ending. God, the Acolyte sucks. So then, finally, Osha and May are reunited, yawn. And Osha's like, I never became a Jedi because I couldn't control my negative emotions. And May's all like, oh, please, girlfriend. Those negative emotions are because Saul killed our mom. And Osha's all like, you killed our mom by somehow burning down a stone fortress. And May steps closer and says, nuh-uh, bitch. And Osha starts shaking and says, oh, no, you didn't. And she attacks May.
Who'd thunk it?
I know, right? Then they go all Karate Kid on each other, and a choir starts singing, and I guess Leslie Headland starts crying about not getting along with her own sister behind the camera, and I'm guessing this is the single most expensive family therapy session of all time, clocking in at hundreds of millions of dollars, but it's okay. Leslie didn't pay for her therapy. Disney investors did. So to hell with them. But one of the funniest things in this whole stupid episode is, at a point when the choir starts singing suddenly, the little ladies look up, like they heard the choir and they're looking for it. It's so funny. Check it out. I hope someone posts a clip. But no, they're looking up at the ship full o' Jedi that flies overhead and has arrived. It looks like Mean, Green, and Bald is coming to force them to stop these pointless, endless battles and maybe wrap this shit up, thank God. Saul destroys Smilo's lightsaber, gets the drop on him, but then May saves Smilo and attacks Saul, and Saul can't do much against a tiny unarmed girl doing kung fu. In fact, Saul is so helpless in this fight, May kicks him to the ground and takes his lightsaber away from him. Holy emasculation, Batman! This show is such a despicable joke. So May lords it over Saul a moment, then pulls a Jake Soywoker and throws his lightsaber away, saying she won't kill Saul. She wants him to confess his crime.
What crime? The lesbian space witch clown was attacking, or looked like it was. It was a misunderstanding, if anything.
I don't know. I don't care. This whole thing is shit. So Saul is telling May that she and Osha are really one person. Their mother used the Force to create life, and they were split somehow. Meanwhile, Osha picks up Saul's lightsaber that May threw away. Here's Saul confess he killed their mother, and albeit without any of the many extenuating circumstances, and Osha says, "Stop talking." Or rather, stop mansplaining, and strangles Saul.
And in this scene, we see the hatred of men at the core of Disney Star Wars. This is a power fantasy for Leslie and KK. A man is trying to honestly explain something nuanced and difficult. But hey, what woman doesn't want to just strangle a guy and tell him in an obnoxious voice, "Stop talking"? I have a better message for male Star Wars fans. Stop watching. Yeah, Star Wars is dead. Screw it.
And on that note, I no longer give a shit. So there lies the body of Star Wars. The only character on this show I could stand. Murdered by a stupid little nobody who feels self-righteous about the patriarchy. So then Smilo goes and stands next to her. Big mistake, because she's hysterical. Any man knows if a woman is hysterical, you need to go and get away from her. Otherwise, it just makes things worse.
Plus, even with his balls in Osha's purse and a melted lightsaber, Smilo is still technically a man, so that makes him a target. Death to the patriarchy. That means you, Smilo.
This is Disney Star Wars, folks. All hissy fits and whining. So her mood lightsaber turns red. She's turned to the dark side of the thread, I guess. Gonna knit a red sweater with it or something now. And at this point, I have nothing but loathing and contempt for this shit, so I am stopping here. If, for some sick reason, you want to know how this shit show ends, watch it yourself. I'm done. Everyone involved in this shit can kiss my ass. Peace out, mother schmuckers. I'm going on vacation. Ha 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 ha